All right, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle a massive question today. Can artificial intelligence, arguably humanity's most powerful invention, actually solve what is probably our single greatest challenge, global warming? I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, but you'd be surprised. The roadmap is already being drawn.
So, let's frame our whole journey today around this one really powerful idea. We're not just talking about, slightly smarter algorithms here. We're exploring a future where AI becomes something like a planetary-scale immune system, actively fighting the fever of climate change. Okay, to really get our heads around this, we need to think in three distinct phases. First up, you've got ANI, the specialized AI we basically have today. Then, coming soon, is AGI, a general intelligence that's on par with us humans. And then, the final frontier, ASI, a superintelligence that goes way, way beyond us. This timeline is going to be our guide.
So here's the game plan. We'll start with the big picture. Then we'll zoom right in on the tools we have today with AGI. From there, we're going to leap into the future and see how AGI could become our planet's architect. And finally, we'll explore the absolutely mind-bending possibilities of ASI. Let's get started.
Okay, let's dive into this. And look, we're not talking about one single magic bullet here. The idea is that each new generation of AI is going to tackle the climate crisis with just exponentially more power. It starts with optimizing the systems we already have, then moves to completely redesigning them, and eventually to directly controlling our planet's environment. Let's start with Phase 1. This is the era we are in right now, and it's going to take us through to about 2030. This is the age of artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI. Now, don't think of ANI as some genius inventor. Think of it more like an incredibly precise and absolutely tireless efficiency expert.
An ANI is a master of one trade, right? Its power is its laser focus on specific jobs, like prediction, optimization, and recognizing patterns. It doesn't invent a new world. It takes the world we have and just surgically removes the waste from it, hitting the problem from literally thousands of different angles all at once.
So, how does this precision scalpel actually work? Well, ANI is already launching a five-pronged attack. It's optimizing our power grids to make sure not a single watt of renewable energy gets wasted. It's discovering new materials for better batteries. It's using satellites to make emissions impossible to hide. It's this comprehensive, data-driven assault on inefficiency, everywhere from the factory floor to the farm.
And this, right here, shows you the fundamental shift in how we do things. Before AI, we were reactive. We wasted power. We spent years on trial and error. We kind of just guessed at emissions. With AI, everything becomes predictive, it becomes preemptive, it can simulate millions of material combinations in an instant and monitors emissions in real time. The whole game here is about eliminating waste through the power of information.
But here's the thing. Efficiency can only take us so far. To really, truly solve the problem, we have to move beyond just tweaking the old system. And that brings us to our next phase, which is projected to kick off around 2030, Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI. This is where we take a huge leap from the present into a much more speculative future.
So this is the absolute key, right? The transition in thinking. ANI is all about individual efficiencies, making a truck route 5% shorter, a factory 10% less wasteful. AGI steps way back and asks, why do we even have this system in the first place? It looks at the entire planetary puzzle and starts redesigning it from the ground up for sustainability.
What makes AGI so different is its ability to think like us, but just on a massive, massive scale. It can understand the deep connections between climate science, economics, politics, even human psychology. This lets it find truly holistic solutions. Ones that don't just solve one problem while accidentally creating another. It becomes a true partner, a planetary co-designer.
And its toolkit is just incredible. It could build a digital twin of the entire Earth to test a new policy before we ever enact it, predicting every single ripple effect. It could become an autonomous scientist, inventing things like practical nuclear fusion or artificial photosynthesis that would just solve our energy problems. It could even use game theory to design climate agreements that are mathematically proven to be fair, completely sidestepping all the political gridlock. And that really boils it all down, doesn't it? That leap in ambition is huge. AGI's goal is to mitigate the damage, to reduce emissions. AGI's goal is to terminate the source of the damage, to eliminate the problem altogether by building a civilization that doesn't produce it to begin with. All right, now we enter the final phase, projected for 2040 and beyond. And this is where things get really wild. We go from redesigning our systems to basically reprogramming physical reality itself. This is the era of artificial superintelligence, or ASI.
Honestly, it's difficult to even wrap your head around what an ASI is. This is an intelligence that's smarter than all of humanity combined in every single field, from science and art to, well, everything. For an ASI, the laws of physics aren't just something you understand, they're a set of parameters you can actually manipulate. It doesn't work within our world, it operates on it.
The solutions here are almost godlike. ASI could deploy fleets of nanomachines that literally pull CO2 from the air and reassemble the atoms into useful materials. It could put programmable smart dust in orbit to act as a perfect planetary thermostat. It could deliver desktop fusion reactors and wireless power, making energy free and limitless. It could even design entirely new forms of life, like synthetic plants that scrub the atmosphere with unbelievable efficiency. Just let that sink in for a second. At this stage, the problem as we know it completely ceases to exist. The planet's climate is no longer this chaotic system we're struggling with. For an ASI, it's just another setting in a global operating system, a parameter that can be adjusted to whatever value we want. So let's pull all three of those phases together. We've gone on this incredible journey, from a tool that makes us more efficient, to an architect that redesigns our whole civilization, to a planetary OS that gives us direct control over our environment. And this table just lays it all out perfectly. With A&I, we're the users of a tool focused on efficiency and mitigation. With AGI, we become collaborators with an architect, redesigning everything to terminate the problem. And finally, with ASI, humanity could simply be the beneficiary of a planetary operating system that offers complete reversal and control. It's a really powerful progression. So we end where we began, but with a new, and maybe even bigger, question. This technological path suggests a future where climate change is a solved problem. But the power to control our own environment on a planetary scale, that's totally unprecedented. It raises these profound questions about who we are and what we want to become. The ultimate challenge might not be solving the climate, but deciding what to do once we're finally holding the controls.